That is an enormous cost. It's about 50 billion, but it's also very imaginative. As we all know...
What is that? Sorry, imaginative. What do you mean by that?
But it's not the kind of thinking you get from the others. Because, because they stick with orthodoxy. One of the big problems we've got is we have more and more people, young people too, living off welfare. And it's costing us over £100 billion a year. What we want to do, and there's a trap here, you see. You're on benefits, you go back to work, you work more than 16 hours a week.
Nigel Farage just did it again. In a tense live exchange on BBC, the veteran politician left the host visibly shaken after a heated debate about Britain's economy, welfare, and what he called the failure of political orthodoxy. The moment exploded online within minutes, clips spreading like wildfire, as viewers were divided between shock.
The tax kicks in, you may as well stay on benefits. There is a terrible trap.
So hence the rationale to raise the tax threshold.
A growing number of young people are saying they've got all sorts of psychological problems, but they're also not incentivized to go to work. We want to get people back to work.
I understand that. So the 50 billion, where will that money come from?
A lot of it will come from the racket that is going on. The government has been creating money, particularly during the pandemic. That money goes into the system, it goes into banks, the banks lodge it with the Bank of England, the Bank of England pay them interest on it. It's a racket, well, and an increasing number of
disbelief and applause. But what exactly happened, and why did this fiery confrontation strike such a nerve? The BBC host introduced a discussion about public spending, asking Farage whether the government's new economic strategy was realistic. Farage leaned in, smirked, and said, "That is an enormous cost, about 50 billion, but it's also very imaginative, as we all know." The host blinked in confusion. "What is that? Sorry, imaginative? What do you mean by that?" And that's when the tone changed completely. Farage fired back, his voice sharp and cutting. "It's not the kind of thinking you get from the others because they stick with orthodoxy. One of the big problems we've got is we have more and more people, young people too, living off welfare. It's costing us over 100 billion, and nobody in Westminster seems willing to say it out loud." The studio fell silent. You could feel the tension building through the screen. The host tried to push back, accusing Farage of exaggerating and ignoring the real causes of poverty. But Farage wasn't backing down. He raised his voice and demanded to know why hard-working taxpayers were footing the bill for what he called a broken welfare state. The host's composure cracked. Her voice trembled as she insisted the numbers were misleading. Farage leaned forward and said, "You can cry about it, but facts don't care about feelings." Gasps filled the studio. Viewers watching live couldn't believe what they were seeing. Within moments, clips hit social media, the BBC host wiping her eyes as the exchange spiraled out of control. Some called Farage cruel. Others called him brutally honest. Either way, the moment was unforgettable. #Farage on BBC started trending instantly, with thousands weighing in on whether Farage had gone too far or just told the uncomfortable truth. Political commentators jumped in too. Some said Farage's outburst was pure populism, another masterclass in provoking the establishment. Others warned it was dangerous rhetoric, designed to divide rather than debate. But whether you love him or loathe him, Farage once again managed to dominate the conversation, leaving the BBC scrambling to manage the fallout. By the end of the broadcast, the host tried to regain control, but the damage was done. Farage, calm and unapologetic, simply smiled and said, "This is what happens when you challenge the narrative." The credits rolled, and the clip immediately became one of the most talked about moments in British broadcasting this year. So what do you think? Was Nigel Farage exposing hard truths, or was this just another stunt to stir controversy? Did he go too far, or did he finally say what others are too afraid to say? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you want more unfiltered political moments, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the next big showdown. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay skeptical.
Like this video and subscribe my channel for latest political updates and bombshell news and latest updates.